To the giraffe. I know this because they both have the same jaw structure. Both can have a long prehensile tongue. Prehensile meaning muscles to help them reach up and grab food that might be above them. Just the ones on the left are the bongos. They're going to be unique because both males and females got those tall spinal horns. However, there's going to be a pretty easy distinction between the two. Those male bongos are going to get darker with age, while females are actually going to get lighter. Same ones on the right are the greater kudu. They're second tallest antelope in all of Africa. They're able to measure up to about 55 inches, that's just at their shoulder. Coming around, we're going to see two black rhinos here. We'll focus on the one that's a little bit farther down here. Now, black rhinos are actually going to be the smaller of the two species out on the reserve. They weigh in at around 3,000 pounds on average. We have two males on our reserve. The two have only about 5,000 left in the entire wild. Now, we also have white rhinos on our reserve. There's going to be a pretty easy distinction between the black and the white rhinos. Actually be very similar color differences in the shapes of their mouths. The leaf black rhinos, they do have a smaller mouth, almost comes to like a V shape. While the white rhinos, they have a lot wider of a mouth. These black rhinos have a prehensile upper lip. This can help them rip through the twigs and the figs out there in those dense forest areas. Once you get past this bamboo on the left, there's going to be a bird that's standing up. There's going to be a saddle-billed stork. Get their name from a yellow patch that's on their bill. It's a dish shape, kind of like a saddle. They grow to be about 4 to 5 feet tall. Have a wingspan of about 9 feet wide, which is as wide as it can be. That's above your heads there. Kind of gives you an idea how large those birds actually are. Now we're already headed out of the Anturi Forest. We're headed here into the Safi River. First animals that we might get to see are some Nile hippos. However, though, it's not a guarantee. As our hippo friends, they do like to spend most of their day kind of fully submerged down in the water. Now, this first pool here is going to be home to our male hippos. Then we're going to have a pool that's a little bit farther down that is going to be home to our female hippos. Out there in the wild, they'll spend a little of their day out on land, but it's going to typically be more towards the nighttime and the early morning hours as well. Now, when they're in the water, their preferred method of movement is actually not going to be to swim. They prefer to either walk along the bottom of it, or sometimes they will float at the top of it. Not so to say that they can't swim, they can. It's just not going to be their preferred method. Down there, completely submerged down in there, they can hold their breath for about 8 minutes. So obviously that's how often that they will rise to the top, just so they can get a big breath of air. Hippos have actually been known to nap underneath the water. Their bodies naturally rise their heads up to the top. 9 times out of 10, the hippos don't realize that that is happening. Also, over on the left, there are some of those pink-backed pelicans on that island over there. Now, pink-backed pelicans are going to get their name from a pink coloration that they get, most commonly during mating season. They're actually one of the smaller pelicans, only have a wingspan of about 7 to 9 feet wide. While larger pelicans, they do have a wingspan of about 14 to 16 feet wide. Coming around here, we're going to be crossing over a bridge here shortly. As we do over on the left, there should be some Nile crocodiles. Now, Nile crocodiles are going to be the longest crocodiles. They're up to about 16 feet. But they weigh anywhere between 400 and 500 pounds. Now, 16 feet might not sound incredibly long. If they were able to stand straight up on the tips of their tails, they would actually be as tall as some of the giraffes are. Now, despite their scary appearance, they are going to be notorious for being some really great parents. They're going to be great parents by using their mouths. They're going to keep the eggs in there, they're rolling around, they're going to keep them warm. Even when those eggs hatch and they become babies, they'll sometimes keep their babies in their mouth. That's going to help them keep safe from any kind of danger that they might encounter. As we come on out of the Safi River and into the grasslands, first thing we'll see though is actually be one of our animal friends. We're going to be passing a funny looking tree over on the right hand side. It's going to be referred to as a baobab tree. We got quite a few of them here on their reserve. They're kind of all scattered around here and there. Baobab trees are filled with a squishy sponge-like substance. Helps them hold up to thousands of gallons of water in their chunks. They typically hold around 26,000 gallons. Now, because of this, they get the nickname Trees of Life. During drought season, animals know this can be a great place to go just to get a drink. Sometimes they refer to as the upside-down trees as well, though. Mainly because they're designed there, the roots look like they're at the top. But they also are going to be leafless for about 9 months out of the year as well. These little tan ones off to the right-hand side, they are fully grown. They are very tiny. Those are the springboks. If the springboks there will jump to about 6 to 8 feet in the air. They can leap about 13 feet forward on average. Despite their small size, though, they're actually incredibly fast. We're up to speeds of about 50 miles an hour, which is almost as fast as the cheetahs would run. Now we combine the speed and the jumping. This thing is called bronchial Jump to super high speeds, jump super high up in the air. Usually it's going to help them to get away from predators. It's either going to, one, confuse whatever's chasing them, or sometimes they just can't keep up. So frolicking is going to be a really good survival tactic for them out in the wild. On the left there, look hard to see if there are some painted dogs over there. They're kind of tan ones that are laying down. And painted dogs are going to be the most successful pack hunters out in the wild. That's because of how well they communicate during their hunt. They have about a 90% success rate out in the wild, so they do almost always travel as a group. Hardly ever kind of travel as individuals. Now we're going to see some giraffes here. These are going to be Maasai giraffes that we've got on the reserve. You can tell they kind of got this irregular pattern to them. They got these kind of jagged edges around their spots. In comparison to the reticulated giraffes, maybe on your spotting guide there. They're going to go to be about 16 to 20 feet tall. Just like the okapi obviously have that long prehensile tongue. This can help them to reach up and grab food that might be above them. Tongues are able to go to be about 18 inches long on average. Now tongues, they are purple. This helps them out in the savannah, so we are trying to reach up, grab all that food. Tongues are going to spend more time outside their mouths than they are going to inside. So the purple help get a little less sunburned than they normally would. We're actually going to see that kind of smaller giraffe there standing up. We also see some zebras here. Come back to these zebras here in just a second, but they are Hartman's mountain zebras. Now for that smaller giraffe there, he turned a year old, a little less than a month ago. He's the youngest giraffe we've got on our reserve. Now giraffes, from the moment that they're born, they're going to be around 6 feet tall. They need to be that tall because that's how far off the ground their mom's udders are going to be. Now giraffes, they actually burst standing up. So we let the babies usually have about a 6-foot fall to the ground when they're born. Now of course that fall, it does sound pretty brutal, but that fall is actually what kickstarts the heart. So it is going to be necessary, and the giraffes will be active within about 15 minutes after birth. Like I said, we'll come back to our zebra friends there. Like I said, Hartman's mountain zebra. We've got 3 on the reserve. We're going to have 1 male and 2 females. The coolest thing about them is they are the only breed of zebra what they call a dewlap. Just going to be a flappy piece of skin underneath their neck. That dewlap just helps them to regulate their temperature. So it can either heat them up or cool them down, either one. As zebra stripes, they are going to be very individual. No 2 sets of stripes are ever going to be the same. So it is kind of like how our fingerprints are. As we want to make this right-hand corner here, you can see 2 different animals. See some gray ones way at the top there. Also be kind of some spread around here. This be the wildebeest. Also, and in these palm trees, you'll see these Ankole cattle have these big old horns that are sticking up and out there. Also, ours can go to be about 6 feet long from tip to tip. You might think that they're heavy for the cattle, but they're not. They're hollow. They're filled with a honeycomb-like structure that just helps them circulate their blood through there. So really not all that heavy for them. And sometimes the Ankole cattle can be known as the Watusi cattle as well. That's because a tribe in Africa called the Watusi tribe. They were the ones who originally domesticated them. Even though that nickname, and it kind of just stuck out the years. Now these gray ones here, like I said, the wildebeest. They're the second most densely populated species in the entire world. Only second to us humans. Which does just basically mean that there are more wildebeests in the world than any other animal except for us. Our wildebeest friends are going to get the nickname the Gnu for a sound that they make. It's going to sound like moo but with an N. They make that sound most often when they're migrating or just traveling in a larger group. Either easiest form of communication, or it does happen to be a whole bunch of them there together. Now coming on out of the grasslands, we're headed here into what we call Monkey Point. The reason we call this area Monkey Point is we do have a family of mandrills over here. First, let's see one of our elephant friends. He'll be over on that right-hand side there. Now we're going to focus on these mandrills here first. They're going to be the largest monkeys in the world. Males are able to weigh up to 100 pounds. Females can weigh up to around 30. You got these really bright blue and red noses. Now going to be the monkeys that they themed Rafiki after from the Lion King. So we'll see where he got a little bit of his design from. We do have a couple of little mandrills over there. They're going to be around 2 years old, a little less than that.
That's a lot.
Now, since there is only one elephant over there, this is one of our 3 males that reside here. If there were 2 of them, it would be a mother and daughter too. The yard that's a little bit farther down is going to have some of our elephant friends as well. Sorry, one program team, they got to switch out how many elephants are in that first chart. Usually going to be depending on the time of the day. Now they are going to be the largest land mammals in the world. They're going to be the African elephants. They weigh anywhere between 13,000 pounds, 12 to 13,000 pounds. Now easiest way we can kind of identify them against other elephants actually be from their ear shape. So it's going to sound a little bit silly, but those ears are kind of shaped like the continent of Africa. Like I said, it's just a really easy way for us to find out, especially from a distance. Also, actually, other kinds of elephants, their ears are not as large as these guys as well. That's kind of 2 different ways for us to tell just from their ears. Now, taking out they're headed into is referred to as elephant country because they are are the only animals that reside over here, so keep our fingers crossed that they are out and about right now. Now we're going to be driving through these red clay pits. Elfin friends, they do love to eat away at red clay. They think that it is super delicious and actually can give them some vitamins that they might be lacking in their daily diet. So they're going to eat away at it, mainly because it's really rich in nutrients and minerals for them. Elephants, they've actually been known to kind of spray the red clay onto each other as well. It's either just one of fun activity, but also has been known to protect their skin. So it's got that really good usage behind it. Typically the ones who'll find it a fun activity are most of the time going to be the younger ones. African elephants, they like to travel in herds of all females if possible. This means that the eldest female is actually going to outrank any other elephant, even if there does happen to be a male involved. That eldest female, she is going to decide everything for the herd. Anything from where they're going to when they're going to go there, might be there for what they're doing there. All those kinds of questions like that are almost always directed back towards that lead female. Obviously, they got those long trunks there in the front. They're going to be about 6 to 8 feet long. And their trunks, they are prehensile. They know the elephants do lots of different things to help them eat, and they're going to help them drink. Then the outside ones will pick up dirt and sand from the ground. They're going to throw it on their back, and they use it kind of like a natural sunblock. Now they make a circle around some of these flamingos. You might be able to see some more elephants kind of in the background there. Nice flamingos are going to be greater flamingo. They're the largest of these flamingo families, actually the least amount of pink. Obviously, a lot of us know they do sleep on one leg. They're going to do this for a very simple reason. It's just going to help them to conserve energy. You might see them shift from leg to leg every now and then. Also a tan antelope up on that right-hand side there. That's going to be an eland. Largest antelope in the entire world. Males can weigh up to around 2,000 pounds. The elands are pure muscles, but if they wanted to, they could jump up to about 8 feet in the air. Go back to our flamingo friends here. Some of them got a little more coloration than the others. This is okay. They get that pink coloration mainly from the food that they eat, which is most often going to be shrimp or kind of smaller crustaceans as well. But they are actually going to start off as a solid gray or white color. And the older that they get, they kind of get more of that pink coloration, that pink tint. Usually takes about a year or two for them to reach their full coloration. As we're coming on out of the elephant, we get a glimpse of some more right there. But we are entering here into the East Savannah. As we first come on in here, it looks a little bit quiet right now. We just see a mud pit kind of over there in the center though. That mud pit could mean that there were white rhinos here recently. White rhino friends, they do love to wallow in the mud. Some of their favorite activities, they think it is super fun, but also has been known to protect their skin. So just like how our elephant friends use that red clay to do both those activities, the white rhinos, they use this mud to do the exact same thing. Now they actually learn to wallow in the mud when they are super young, so they learn from their elders. Then they take it on with them most of the time through the rest of their lives. So they are able to pass it down from generation to generation. And coming down and around up on the left is typically where we find some of our cheetah friends. They're going this up and walking around over there. Now cheetahs are also going to be the fastest land mammals in the world. Run up to speeds of about 60 miles an hour. Able to reach that speed in just 3 seconds. Now the cheetahs, they can't hold that speed for very long though, so most of the time they're kind of more known as like a sprinter. There are some white rhinos up on the right-hand side. You just kind of see them peeking out there. They're going to be the larger of the species on the reserve. They weigh in at around 5,000 pounds on average. Now, they don't have any natural predators in the wild. It's going to be a very good thing for them. They do have terrible eyesight. They can only see about 10 to 15 feet in front of them. They do rely a lot on their other senses. Kind of help them get around to navigate their world. See any more of our cheetah friends there. They are very good at camouflage. That's what their print is made to look like. It's made to look like the sun that's shining through some trees. So when they go on their hunt, they're actually weave in and out of the tall grasses. Might make them hard to see when they're sneaking up on their prey, for example. These red rocks in front of us are referred to as the Kopi rocks. Technically, they're home to our lion friends, but our lion friends, they are nocturnal. So they're going to do most of their resting there in the day, so fortunately, it's not likely that they will be out and about here at the moment. But we do have 3 lions on our pride. We have 1 male lion. I also have 2 lions.